Hi there, my name's Dan. I'm Workshop Foreman here at Barnstormer Alton. Today is the first in a series of short videos where we'd like to make sure and help you that your bike maintains it as safe as possible. First off, I'd like to start with the brakes and simple things you can check at home to make sure that everything's as safe as it possibly can be. Brake caliper removal can be a simple process. Simply remove these bolts here. The system will vary bike to bike, but the principle's the same. Make sure these pad pins are slackened off. Carefully remove the brake caliper, avoiding the wheel at all costs. The caliper's been removed, and you can see this is a fairly new brake caliper, so everything's in tip-top condition there. This is an example of why you should check brake pads. These are around 70% worn compared to some new ones which I'll show you in a second. As you can see here, these are fairly rusted and there's not a great deal of pad material left on those. And a way you can also check for this pad material if it's worn out, normally you have these grooves which you'll be able to see easier on another set of pads which I'll show you shortly. And when they get down to sort of the bottom of their wear line there, it's time to replace them, and that's exactly why these have been replaced. Onto a new set. You can see here clearly these lines that I was just talking about, and when that reaches this point here, that's a good indication that the pads need replacing. Let me just show you the two as a comparison there. Brand new, worn. This is an example of a rear brake caliper, a slightly different system to the front on most bikes. You can see what this has is a sliding portion here. And during the winter months, when the salt is around, what can happen is these sliding portions of these brake calipers can get corrosion and just sort of gunge build up on them. And what that then in turn does, that stops the caliper from sliding. So as you can imagine, it's seized in this position. And then the only thing that's making that brake work is this brake piston, and that can cause uneven pad wear. So that will wear one brake pad out quicker than the other. And obviously that can also lead to the brake binding on. So it's very important to check your brakes aren't binding, and if there's anything that requires cleaning out, it's a real must that that's done. Okay, now heading back to the front brake calipers. Obviously this is a new caliper. What happens is over the winter months, as we just said with the rear, you get corrosion build up, and that generally tends to happen on front brake calipers in these areas here and on these parts of the brake pads. And again, what happens there, the brakes stick to the inside of the caliper, causing the brake to bind on. So again, as I said before, it's very important to make sure that everything's clean and working as it should be. And the installation of the pads is basically the same as the removal, just in the reverse. Push your brake pads in, making sure they're apart. Small piece of tension on your thumb there. Pad pins in. We'll just do those up hand tight for now until the caliper's on the bike. Again, being very careful not to damage the wheel. Slide the caliper in at a slight angle like that until you feel the pads separate. It slides over. Securing bolts in. It's highly recommended the use of a torque wrench for brake parts, and typically the torque setting for most BMW front calipers is 38 Newton meters. Always double check your work when it's brakes. And those securing pins. Slight nip on those. It's only a very light torque that they go down to. And any securing clips that are on the back also need to be replaced. And once you're done, don't forget to pump the brake pads out. So there you have it. That's how to keep on top of your brakes and make sure that everything's in tip-top condition. If you feel there's anything that you need help with, please don't hesitate to call us here at Barnstormer.